Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your returning host, Gav, and Dave and Stephen Hunt here today. So joining me for a glass half full optimistic review of all Hibs things Hibs, I've got Craig.
Hello.
Liam.
Right.
And Stuart. Guys, how you getting on?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. How did you find hosting last week, Stuart?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was great to have Stephen and Liam. Seems to have been received well online. I do have a very quick rebuttal, if you don't mind, though. I caught up with my good friend Laird, who apparently was a little bit sore about the slagging he got on the podcast last week. And he just wanted to qualify. He wasn't 100% sure it was Scotty Allen at the service station. So he didn't want to just approach this random guy in a tracksuit. And by the time he realised it was him, it was too late. So that was his
now
excuse.
I've heard that, Stuart. Now I've heard that about your friend Laird. It struck a chord with me, and I want to apologise for absolutely nothing. The guy's a complete nobody. Stop listening to the podcast, mate. We don't want you here.
Craig, how was your weekend?
Quiet as always, mate. Got my first Gold 1 finish on Ultimate Team.
Right.
On the Weekend League. Division 1 player now. Yep, that's me.
Is that FIFA you're talking about? I don't really play online much, so
I'm now part of the elite group in the world that are Division 1.
Right, okay.
No big deal.
Liam, how's life?
Just chilling again, mate. Just knocking back, going with the flow in the current, in the EIC, the East Australian current.
I'm on night shifts tonight, so I'm not long up. So I'm still catching up on things. But I'd say I thought there was a few good games over the weekend. The Hibs game, the Man United game was quite good, and the Spurs Arsenal game. But yeah,
it's a shame Stephen's not here.
I know. It was fun winding him up in the chat. He was biting at everything yesterday. It was great.
Up on that's what I say.
So I understand.
There's a hurricane coming through.
I understand I've missed a couple of things. We've been asleep getting ready for the night shift. So what's this about Jason Naismith briefly? What's going on? Fill me in, Stuart.
Well, essentially, he has been released from his previous team, Peterborough, and he is, it's been told that he is coming up to re-sign for a Scottish club. Lots of rumours floating around online. It is either ourselves, Dundee United, or St Mirren, that is his destinations. He's clearly been very passionate about Hibs in the past, spoke well about us. Could he be coming back to Easter Road?
Craig, it's one. I mean, the way he spoke, it seems like that if he got his choice, he would come back. Do you see it happening?
I don't know. I think we've got obviously McGinn's in great form just now. Gray's there as backup. I mean, he would certainly bolster the squad in terms of numbers. Because we're quite. If anything happens to either Porteous or Hanlon, we're down to McGregor. So, bringing in Naismith would allow McGinn to possibly move inside. So I would definitely take him back. I think the 6 months that he was here last season, he actually done really well. And his comments, he certainly took the club to heart.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed playing for us, and he had nothing but great things to say. So we'll just need to wait and see. But I would, if we're the Scottish team that he's signing for, I wouldn't be disappointed, put it that way.
McGinn has been in great form, like Craig says, Liam, but I think it's fair to say Naismith probably offers something a bit more going forward. Maybe not as good defensively, but probably a better player going forward.
100%. I think he showed it in the 6 months he was here last season. Like Craig said, he was really good. A good attacking fullback. Reminded me of a bit of David Gray when he first signed for Hibs. And I mean, everyone loves to see an attacking fullback. Again, just saying what Craig said, he ended up loving the club. I'd be delighted if we signed him. I really liked him. And again, it frees up McGinn to cover at centre half. Gray's not going to be fit for the whole season. So I think it makes sense to bring him in.
For me, he just perfectly covers that right-hand side. And as soon as his name was kind of doting about online this morning, my mind immediately went to that goal he scored against Kilmarnock, where he absolutely took the net off. Unbelievable. That's the absolute kind of player we're wanting, bringing it in forward. That was a brilliant description, Liam. Thank you.
I think, see, just quickly talking about him, what I noticed, I know we'll cover it about the game anyway, but he would offer us what Stephen O'Donnell offers Motherwell.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at how O'Donnell plays versus McGinn is very much an up to the halfway line kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from obviously last week where he scored twice. But he does that sporadically, whereas O'Donnell really takes Motherwell up the pitch, especially on that right-hand side. And that's what Naismith would offer us.
I think we would be really good on either side at left back if we had Naismith on the right and kept with Mackie or Doig on the left, because both of them on the left are attacking options as well, and they're people that drive the team forward. Like you were saying about O'Donnell, I think Naismith's a better player than O'Donnell. O'Donnell, for me, is a bit overrated because he had a couple of good seasons at Kilmarnock. I didn't see him as anything more than average. I would rather have Naismith than O'Donnell.
I think if Stephen was here, he always goes on about 3-5-2. I think we struggle to play that at the moment. I don't think he gets the best at Boyle, and I don't think Stevenson's got it anymore to be bombing up and down the park like he is. But I think with Mackie on the left and Naismith on the right, I don't think McGinn offers enough as a wing back either. I think he's better at that right centre back. I think Naismith and Mackie in a back five would be really exciting. Really offer a lot going forward. So fingers crossed, we'll keep an eye on it. And like I say, we'll give you a bit more reaction if it happens. If he goes to St Mirren, we'll sigh and move on. And I understand I've sort of missed the draw with Scotland. So who have we got and how are you feeling about the job quickly?
Delighted.
Yeah, it's a decent draw for us. Probably in terms of seeds 1 and 2, it's the teams that you would pick to be in our group.
Yeah, so to just clarify, yes, I do. I was trying to pretend that I was remembering off the top of my head. Not everyone can see us here. Come on. Yes, in our qualifying group, we have got Denmark, Austria, we're pot free, then followed by Israel, nice to see them again, Faroe Islands, and Moldova.
Right, okay. Denmark's the big name that stands out there. I know Eriksen's not been lighting up for Inter Milan recently, but still a really terrifying player to play against. So what's the case? Do we need to finish second to get? What's the? I don't know.
I don't know how it works. So what is there? Is there 8 groups?
Yeah, we're one of the larger groups.
Right. So what is it? 4 groups of 6 and 4 of 5.
Yes, I think that was it.
I think so.
What is it? 16. Is it 16 teams got 16 teams for Europe got the World Cup? So first and second.
Don't know.
We really did our research on this.
Yeah.
Could not tell you. As long as we beat these clowns.
Then. I don't think we should be too adverse to finishing top of that group.
Aye, because like you look at Denmark, right, and you're talking about Eriksen. I struggle to think of any other Danish players apart from Schmeichel.
Delaney at Dortmund's got a good player as well.
Poulsen, the boy at Leipzig.
Yeah, good striker.
Who the fuck's that, man?
I know
Mate, they didn't even deserve the nobodies. Hold on, what's nobodies in Danish? Let me...
So
we're about to get Liam's impression of McLaren doing a Danish accent here.
I think it's...
I don't know what a Danish accent is.
Nobody in Danish is Hertz, I think.
Nobody's.
It took me a minute to get that.
Ingen. They're absolute Ingans.
Right. Okay. So yeah, interesting, exciting for Scotland. Like say, obviously we've got the Euro, so but let's make it back to back and qualify for another tournament. But like I say, we're going to obviously chat about Hibs game today. We've got the Motherwell thing I went to chat about Hamilton as well, and we're going to have a look at the rest of the season and see how we think we got the rest of the calendar year. And see how we think we get on. So, starting with the Motherwell game, Craig, when you seen the lineup, this sort of looked like it was a 4-4-1-1, potentially a 4-4-2. With I know there was speculation about Wright maybe out wide and Boyle up top. What was your before we get into the actual game itself? What was your reaction when you seen the team lineup?
I was glad to see Malin wasn't in it for a start. Surprised to see Stevenson at left back as well, because I think we've been. I think we've all been in agreement recently that Mackie's done really well. He's been given his shot in the team and he's definitely taken it with both hands. But it was a mixed bag. I was glad to see someone like Hallberg getting a chance. At the start of the season, I was very much, this is going to be Hallberg's year. and he's never really, whether he's had a fair crack at the whip or not, he's never really taken that on. Obviously, we were missing Gogic as well. So we immediately, as soon as we see Gogic isn't in there, we think, oh no, the midfield's going to be quite light.
Mm-hmm.
So I was feeling a bit mixed in terms of what the starting 11 was when I first seen it.
Yeah, like I say, no Gogic, no Mackie, no McGuinness, and Malin dropped. And obviously Lewis Stevenson returning was sort of like the headlines from the team. Stuart, what was your thoughts on the first half overall?
You know what? I thought we actually started very well. First 15, 20 minutes, some great kind of touches and moves from Newell and Hallberg getting involved in it. Does Wright maybe a wee bit quiet, but I think he was cancelling out the Motherwell player whose name is completely escaping me right now. That's the one. Thank you. In general, I thought it was actually quite positive. Okay, no shots on target, but other than the one Rocky had to go to feet and their cancelled out goal for the infringement, I thought honours even at half-time was pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think, me personally, I thought Motherwell, especially towards the end of the second half, started to sort of dominate. I say that in inverted commas, but really done nothing with it, other than their disallowed goal, which will come in a sec. Liam, do you feel that's sort of testament to the defence playing well, sort of limiting Motherwell's chances, even though it wouldn't have had a bit of a spell of domination?
I would think so. I was watching the highlights again earlier on, and they did have quite a lot of chances, but none of them were really clear cut or good enough for them to score. And I think the defence did a half decent job of keeping them out and being solid, which is a change from recent weeks. It's nice to see that they still remember how to play football. So. No, I was pleased with the performance first half. Attacking wise, not great by any stretch of the imagination, but had to get in at half time 0-0 after they kind of bombarded us a wee bit towards the end of the first half. I was happy with.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that I know the Motherwell manager's very annoyed about it. I think if VAR was in place, we'd maybe find ourselves 1-0 down. There didn't seem to be too much wrong with that goal. It was a well-worked set piece. Took it well, but it was chopped off for offside. Jack Ross said, sort of spoke to the players, gave them quite a bit of a welcome at half time. Craig, did you notice a different attitude the second half?
Oh, big time. That second half is as good as I've seen us play for I don't know how long. Because obviously, because we can't be at the games, when we're watching it, we've half got one eye on the stream and one eye on the group chat, because the group chat's absolutely rampant during the 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the one common theme is that we just seemed to be too slow on the counter. Know that we're setting up as a counter-attacking team, but when we have the chance to hit the break from an opposition set piece, for example, we've not got the fullbacks pushing out quick enough. Maybe Boyle and Murphy are tucking in, so there's no option to go out wide. So it was, for me anyway, for the first half, that was quite frustrating because I didn't see where we were going to get it. But no, second half we were excellent, and you can tell that Jack Ross put a rocket up their arse, because they definitely seemed like, especially with the laboured performances we've had recently. When you look at St Johnstone, for example.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we would get a reaction. We didn't really get one in the first half on Saturday, but we certainly got in the second half. Like I say, I'd go as far as to say that's our best performance of the season so far.
Wow. There's a lot of sort of positives to come from that, and one of them was Martin Boyle. Liam, I've seen some people say it was a great second half performance. Others say he took his goal well and the one other chance, but other than that, still wasn't looking himself. What side do you fall on? Great second half performance, or was it just sort of the goal?
I think it was better than what we've seen from him. He was looking a little bit more direct, and that is shown with his involvement. Obviously, in the first goal that he scored, it was a great finish. And the third goal, which was more like what we're used to seeing Martin Boyle do, the link-up playing in. It was him that put the ball into the box. So was it? I can't remember. Was it Gullan?
I thought it was Newell. I thought it was Newell that put the ball into Gullan.
Oh, Ken, what? I didn't ken. But he was definitely involved in more play going forward than he has been in recent weeks. And if that means Boyle's going to come back to the form that he was showing last season, then that's absolutely fine with me. I think having a big player like him on form is really important for us. Going into this very busy end of the year.
It's just fantastic to see him in the second half running at his man, because that's what he
makes
can
a
do.
Change.
We all knew he can do that. We don't want to drop him back to being one of these impact players that we bring on with 25 minutes to go when legs are getting a bit tired. In another day, in the second half, he could have had a hat-trick. Brilliant save from the Motherwell keeper. And the one that was slight deflection, just taking it wide.
Just went past the post, yeah.
We could have had a Boyle hat-trick we could have been talking about quite easily.
And Stuart, I mean, the goal itself, it was a great movement all around from all three players involved. Hallberg, before he sort of received the ball, great cross in from him. Naismith running to the near post, and then Boyle peeling off. So great to see that movement from everybody involved with the first goal.
Yeah, great team movement. Is that something that they maybe have been practicing? Not quite sure, but it certainly seems quite a natural flow about it. Good to see it. And again, what Craig says, the rocket at halftime absolutely worked.
A great ball for Hallberg as well. I don't think it can be, underestimated how difficult it can be at times. I mean, you watch any sort of game, and how many times does a cross hit the man it's intended to hit? Mm-hmm. Very, very rarely.
At any level.
For set pieces, whether it be for set pieces, for open play. And he's actually managed to pick Boyle out right at the back post, making it look as if he's obviously going for Nisbet. So I think Hallberg deserves a lot of credit for that, and also for the fact that he's breaking between the lines as well and sort of getting up in front of the strikers to make that happen.
You touched on a bit, but how did you feel done? Did he take his chance?
I'd certainly say so, yeah. I thought he had a... Like most of them in the first half, but second half, definitely. I seen a willingness to put himself about, and he definitely seemed to want to make the most of the chance that he was getting.
Just on Hallberg there, sorry Stuart, just on Hallberg there, I thought he was excellent in the second half. First half, again, an forgettable one, sorry. But he can't be doing that bad in training. How is a performance like that in the second half? Like how can he not get in the team over fucking Stevie Mallon? Honestly, it's so strange how fucking he gets in the team before Hallberg. Mm-hmm. I think Hallberg at times is a bit of a luxury player, but I think Stevie Mallon's made a luxury player. Everyone goes on about, but the boy can hit a dead ball, the boy can hit a ball for range. He's scored the odd goal for outside the box, and he's scored a free kick for us fucking 8 years ago. But listen, performances like how Hallberg has, how's he not getting in the team ahead of Mallon? Mallon fucking passes the ball out of the park.
He did. He got in the team on Saturday. That's why we're talking about him now.
Exactly. But how's he not? But how's Mallon been getting in the team ahead of fucking Hallberg?
I think Hallberg was one of the players that was kind of hung out to dry and left out in the cold after the early League Cup games. We're all saying, look, this was his chance. Why did he not take it? Is that part of why Mallon's been getting into the team? But the guy showed a hell of a lot of dig in the game on Saturday, and now for me warrants his place.
Mallon fucking won a competition on a crisp packet to come play for us.
I think I entered that.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I have to say, other than the 2 goals, which is maybe why he sort of kept his place, I didn't see much from Stevie Mallon in those cup games either. But great to see Hallberg getting his chance, and great to hear the positive things about him. But the main man in the midfield was undoubtedly Joe Newell. I know Hibernian supporters, formerly HSL, voted him man of the match. And I tweeted about how we need to give him a 7-year deal. Stuart, just first off, another overall great performance, but and then touch on his involvement in the second goal.
Yeah, great to see Newell back. We seem to be saying this a lot about players. Since the semi-final against Hearts, we've had a bit of the microscope out from a few of them. A few of them have been downtrodden, anonymous, but they all kind of stepped up. Newell absolutely being one of them. Lovely way to honour Maradona in the first half of his little kind of touch and turn was absolutely delightful to see. despite not having any commentary to back it up on there. I think Cliff would have really enjoyed that for us all. But it's just great to see these guys where we're actually starting to see the Newell that we've started the season with.
Yeah,
I can't ever remember a head player turning his career around as much as Joe Newell has. Like, when you think back to the player that was brought in under Heckenbottom, and it was a bit like, who is this? Like, is this just another one of these players that's came up for the championship and is here for an easy life and wants to earn a bit of decent money and blah, blah, blah. And then this season, obviously, he's done a lot in pre-season to get into Jack Ross's thoughts. And, he's almost one of the first names on the team sheet now. I honestly cannot remember a head player going from where he was to where he is now.
Yeah, Heckenbottom signed him and he wasn't even getting in Heckenbottom's team.
You look at how he was playing at the start with Heckenbottom. Admittedly, he was playing him out of position, but just mind the game where we got beat 6-1 at Ibrox. That's the one that springs to mind with me, and he just looked so lazy, lethargic. Looked like he didn't even want to be there. And then, from now, 2 words come to mind. Rolls Royce. The boy's an absolute player.
Aye.
Stuart said that those touches, I think it was on the far touchline.
Yeah.
In the first half, little twinkle toes.
Yeah.
To me, that's a sign of a player getting his confidence back.
I'd love to name my bairns Joe Newell.
Are you having twins, or is that a double barrel name?
I need to have a bairn first.
Joe Newell 1 and Joe Newell 2.
And I think in the last few weeks we've been asking for that directness, and it was great to see Newell, like say, especially for the second goal, sort of bursting forward, taking on a man, good bit of footwork, and then sort of finding his man in Doig. And a great finish from Doig, a really tidy finish. Came on, we sort of changed it to the 4-4-2. I thought he looked really good when he came on. I could have come back in a bit to whether maybe that's a new position, a role for him coming off the bench. But I thought Newell, brilliant involvement in the goal, great goal from Doig and 2-0 up. And I know we're going to come to the third goal in a second, but Craig, I know you wanted to make a good point about Nisbet and his involvement in the third goal.
Aye, definitely. I mean, the third goal is one of the ones where if you're at the game and that game scored, you're kind of turning to each other and going, what? One of those ones. It was the 91st or 92nd minute. The Motherwell fullback's got the ball and Nisbet's just relentless in chasing him down. And, the move leads to, like I say, I'm sure it's Newell who gets the ball. Gullan makes the run inside the box, just plays it in, and then McGinn, slots it away. But that determination and that drive to be doing that in the 92nd minute when you're 2-0 up away from home, bearing in mind there's no fans there either. Again, you would associate something like that with chasing, if the fans are screaming in the last few minutes, if you're chasing an equaliser or you're chasing a winner or whatever. But I think that just shows you the mindset of the player and also the team as well. That we've often discussed about, as soon as we go 1-0 up, that's it. You know what I mean? When Jack Ross sits on a lead, we don't look to go for the throat, so to speak. Whereas that third goal on Saturday, to me, shows that when the opportunity presents itself, we will go for the throat. Because there's no many teams that will go to Fir Park, fans or no, and come away with a 3-0 win.
Absolutely not. I think,
especially after the first half that we had.
Yeah. But no, that third goal, just the way it all came together, Nisbet's determination to get on the end of it, to win the ball back, Gullan's enthusiasm to be in and around the box, who I thought was excellent when he came on as well. And obviously, I know he's been lambasted quite a bit, and I'm not his biggest fan, but it's nice to see McGinn getting a goal. And now we've got the most successful Hibernian Academy product seems to be Mrs. McGinn. she just keeps giving us bairns that just keep scoring for Hibs.
And Craig touched on Gullan there, Liam, and I saw you sort of nodding your head. We've spoken about Murphy being direct down that left-hand side. It was great to see Gullan taking on a defender, being direct, trying to get to the byline in order to get in, just that directness from him. Yeah,
I've been calling it for weeks for Jamie Gullan, to be getting game time in important games. No just when we're 3-0 up or were playing some diddies for the Championship, like Dundee. You know, and we want him to start playing a bit more. He's how old is he now? 21, 20, 21?
2021, I think.
20, I think.
He needs to start playing now, and I think he shows that he's got what it takes, you know, to either play up front or out wide left. You know, which brings me to, I mean, I don't know the extent of what Murphy's injury was. I saw him, you know, obviously he walked off. You know, obviously it'd be gutting if Murphy was injured, but at the same time, I think it'd be nice to see Jamie Gullan coming in and, you know, trying to stake a claim for a place in the first team, because, you know, I don't want it to turn into an Ollie Shaw. As much as I liked Ollie Shaw, he was just bit part until we didn't need him anymore. And I didn't want our youth prospects to be like that.
I don't actually think that Gullan's a striker.
And more inverted winger.
I like him at left.
I think he's more, obviously, no, I don't want to draw comparisons, but Riordan was never a striker. He was someone who played off the left. And I think that's what Gullan, I think a lot of us are looking at Gullan through the prisms of a number 9 type. Whereas I don't think he is a number 9. I think he's more of a 10. He can drop it in those wee pockets and could operate. I think he could operate effectively off either wing.
Yeah, I would love to see him get more game time. When we were playing Celtic the other week, I was saying to my old man, I was like, why are we not bringing on Jamie Gullan here? He, you know, he would benefit for even just half an hour, 20 minutes against Celtic, regardless with no fans there. But I can't remember him ever being in a game against a half-decent team.
But yeah, great to see, like Craig sort of said about Nisbet chasing that down in the 92nd minute. I think, you know, Joe had pointed this out as well. The guy does the majority of the articles on Hibs.com and messaged me about this. But the fact that, yes, Stephen McGinn's bursting to get into the box, but also Joe Newell, the two of them are trying to get in. It kind of gives you options. So great to see that so late in the game. And Deutsch, you know, so as I sort of mentioned, scored from the bench. We've changed it to a 4-4-2. But Stuart, is there maybe something in this 4-2-3-1 sort of formation? I know Wright maybe wasn't. Or do you feel Wright did enough to keep his place there, or what do you think? How do you sort of see us going forward?
I'm getting a shake of the head from Craig there, but you know what? I actually did like Wright on Saturday. I thought he had a good game. Again, another one of these guys. He's maybe not set the heather on fire since he's come to Hibs, but I think he kind of gave us a little bit more of an option, and he was getting nullified in the first half, but he was also doing his role. He was stopping a lot of Motherwell being able to play what they do, touching on, there's not many teams that are going to go to Fir Park and get Fir Hill and get
right the first time.
Oh, damn it.
You're right.
I mean, it's a Park fan, that's what threw me there, damn it. The one up top, though, Nisbet, you know what? Credit to the lad doing all that running and edging out for that third goal, because he really wasn't getting much from that big Mugabe during the game. But he kept his head up and he kept going. You've got to appreciate that. And we've not really touched on it, but what a finish from Deutsch. How many strikers would have tried to just put their laces through that and made an absolute arse of it? But he just passed that into the net. He knew where the keeper was, struck it just so sweetly.
Ken, what that goal reminded me of for Deutsch? The way that he hit it and the way that it kind of trundled on into the net. It reminded me of Owen Doyle's goal in the semi-final against Falkirk for 3-3.
Not the toe poke.
Aye. Well, he never really toe poked it. It was like in between his side foot and his laces. And he kind of mishit it. And it trundled on and went right in the bottom corner. That's what it reminded me of. But we didn't see enough of that for Deutsch, taking a shot from the edge of the box. I mean, there might be a reason for that, because you know he maybe can't score for there. But you know, there's I mean, he's shown that he's capable of scoring a goal for outside the box, so he should start shooting for there. So if you listen to this, Christian, ignore everything I'm saying because I'm talking absolute shite. Fantastic finish from Deutsch. Craig, you were shaking your head about Dre Wright. You don't feel that?
I just don't see what he offers us, to be honest. And I was I was prepared to give him a chance because he got quite a lot of stick early on for Hibs fans on Twitter, and it was a bit like, he's only just into the club, like, give him a chance, but I just don't see what he offers us. You can see that he wasn't a standout at St Johnstone anyway.
I didn't even ken who he was before we signed him.
They weren't desperate to keep him, though.
Yeah. They were offering him on a deal. I think Stuart made a good point about how he kind of added. There was sort of things he was doing off the ball, disciplined performance in terms of keeping O'Hara quiet, who done a great job in the first game when we played Motherwell at Easter Road. Thought he'd done a really good job of controlling the tempo of the game, O'Hara. So I think that was kind of having a bit more pressure on him helped. And one thing as well, he'd never done it enough for me, but one thing I liked was when he drifted out to the right-hand side and kind of doubled up with Boyle, and then you've kind of got McGinn coming forward as well. It kind of made it a bit more difficult for the fullback in terms of, right, who am I marking here? And then Boyle was able to be a bit more direct. So I felt could have seen it a bit more because, like I said, a bit more freedom to drift out to either side. But yeah, I was quite encouraged by that. But overall, I think, I don't know if he's done enough to keep his place in the team for. Just
to touch on what you said, Stuart, you said that St Johnstone were desperate to keep him, but I heard it's because he gave the manager a lift to training every morning.
That's important to think about the environment in these times.
But then, should we really be car sharing in these times?
They'll be in a bubble.
Talking about the game on Saturday, Motherwell really missed David Turnbull. I think that's the only time I've seen him this season, bar the other game they played against us. And they really, really miss him, I think. And it's a shame to see another one of these promising players go and sit on the bench for one of the old firm.
But wasn't he 3 million? That's a heck of a lot of sit on the bench money.
Well, they've got so many players. They've got that Soro, who's was 2 and a bit million. That what was his name? Kouassi, who they bought for 2.5 million.
Klamala as well.
Klamala, Ayeti, like barking arse, like they're all. Aye, like it's just a shame to see. I mean, I'm not really caring about them, but it is a shame to see another young, talented Scottish player go the way of picking splinters out his arse for sitting on the bench for one of the old firms.
It's a shame for Turnbull as well, because he'd walk into any team in this league, and even like doing English Championship, I would say would get into a lot of the teams down there as well. So,
well, I'd be like, for example, you look at somebody similar age, who would you put him up against? So you'd say somebody like Lewis Ferguson. Like with Ferguson, he's obviously made the move from a smaller club to a bigger club in terms of Hamilton to Aberdeen. But his next move is then going to be on to
Rangers.
I don't know. Well, you could say Rangers.
Well, that's surname definitely.
If you look at teams down south, he could easily, I think, go down south, and I think he could go and play in the Premier League. When you look at players that have played in Scotland in the past, like James McCarthy, James MacArthur, Graham Dorrans, and all that, they all went down south. He's not at level of McGinn. Behave yourself. But no, they sort of players went down south and managed to prove themselves there. That's what I could see Ferguson doing. And if Turnbull had made a similar sort of move, he could have done the same. Turnbull could have went to an Aston, like a Norwich. Is that not who he was linked with?
McLean.
Norwich. And he chose Celtic. And you look at Kenny McLean. Like Kenny McLean then went to play in the Premier League last season. And McGinn is now in the Premier League. That could have been Turnbull. So
I think with your example, Lewis Ferguson, I think it's inevitable he'll go to Rangers. But when he does, I think he'll be, undeniable and go straight into that starting lineup. Whereas Turnbull is, like say, sitting on the bench and stuff. And the guy missed a lot of football with that injury. And it would like to say that O'Hara, him and Campbell were really sort of starting to form a real partnership in that midfield. And it would have been good for Scotland to see that, like say, chemistry build up, him get more football rather than sitting on the bench. But, Celtic are desperate now, so you never know, he might get more game time.
Turnbull was never going to go to Celtic and be one of their star players. Whereas, like what you're saying with Ferguson, when he goes to Rangers, not even if it's when he goes to Rangers, you know that he's going to walk in and he'll be playing every week. It's just Celtic and Rangers have done it. Not so much Rangers now, but Rangers of old, they've always done it and just weakened the opposition. It's not fair.
Well said.
So we mentioned Lewis Ferguson there, who of course played for Hamilton, which transitions us nicely into Hamilton versus on
It's
Saturday.
almost like I knew what I was doing
after
there.
being, I was too busy. I know I was too busy tapping myself on the back, and then I've fluffed my lines. So we played them not that long ago. We won 3-2. Stuart, what did you learn from Hamilton in that 3-2 win?
Didn't give them too many penalties. No, I think we took the foot well and truly off the gas. Talked about it earlier. The sitting back on the leads. Don't do that. Rice has made them a lot hungrier. They're not here to just be the whipping boys that they were under our old defender. But we should still have enough to take on. The latest from Hibs were saying that Gogic and Mackie both hoping to shake off their knocks, and Murphy being assessed with McGuinness potentially in the running for the first team as well. So we should have enough to kind of get us there and get the 3 points.
With Hamilton, there's been a lot of calls for Brian Rice to go since his last game at Easter Road. I've got the sort of running results here. They lost 3-1 to Annan in the League Cup, conceded 5 in a defeat to St Johnstone, 4 in a defeat to Aberdeen, and then lost 8-0 to Rangers. So I'm sorry, Stuart, they have been whipping boys. And then they lost to Stranraer and Dundee United in November. And then thanks to COVID, they secured a 3-0 win against St Mirren. And then 1-0 against Kilmarnock at the weekend. But Kilmarnock did get a man sent off in the 29th minute, and like you said, Stuart, didn't give them penalties because they got the 1-0 with a penalty. So I think Craig, it's fair to say, 3-0 which they play in, and a 1-0 against 10 men. Hamilton aren't in great form.
I don't know if Stuart meant that, but when you said that Rice has made them hungrier, I was thinking, what else can they have? Suppress their hunger.
I want to say I meant that, but no.
No, we say it every year. Every year, Hamilton, everybody's picked to go down. And 9 times out of 10, they manage to jump into a barrel of shite and come out smelling of roses. But I think this might be their year that they finally go. I mean, I don't feel that they've got any players notable. Over the years, you could always pick out maybe 1 or 2 that you could say would give them a fighting chance. But no, we should learn for the last time in terms of we can easily. Was that Nisbet's hat trick? No, Nisbet scored the free.
Nisbet scored against Lewy.
He scored the free. He scored the free. Who else scored? Did he score 2? He scored the header.
Nisbet got 2, and
was it Paul Hanlon?
Fucking hell, they can.
Yeah,
sure. Hanlon got the last one. Aye. So,
and then like I say 3-0 up and it finished 3-2.
We should have a bit of be able to learn from that from last time, but also how we played in the second half on Saturday. If we can replicate anywhere near that against Hamilton this weekend, plastic pitch or not, we've got the real potential to blow them away and give them a right doing, which I honestly think is coming. We're due to give someone a good hiding.
We just gave Motherwell a good hiding.
A proper
right
5-6 goal type of hiding.
I mean, we spoke about Hamilton's form, and Hibs unbeaten in 5, and a point clear Aberdeen. We're coming for Celtic now, aren't we?
We're coming for Celtic. Yep, absolutely. I don't want to talk about Hamilton. Don't want to give any of those idiots any airtime. They don't deserve it, in my opinion. Brian Basmati Rice is a shite manager, as far as I'm concerned. 8-0 against Rangers. Get a grip, son.
Aye.
We are coming for Celtic. Neil Lennon is sweating his wee ginger head off, right? Oh, he's fucking scared of us.
Don't you talk about the best manager that Hibs will ever have like that.
Oh, no. Don't leave, Neil, please.
The best manager that Hibs will ever have.
I don't know if Craig's fishing there or not, but aye. So, like I say, great to see Hibs doing so well. I mean, we spoke about team selection earlier on, Stuart. What sort of... Would you make any changes from the team that started the game? Or, like I say, I know we spoke about the players that are potentially coming back. What changes would... Say everyone's fit, what kind of changes would you like to see after a 3-0 win?
I'm never a big fan of making changes after a great win and performance in the second half that we had there. But my temptation to put Gogic in would be quite high. He knows that Hamilton team. Is that a bit of a psychological as well? Because they have clearly suffered since he's left. He knows those players inside and out. I think that would be a sensible sub for me. And you know what? Go for 2 up top.
I think if we start with a 4-2-3-1, Gogic has to play. And as one of the two holding, absolutely. But see, if we're going a flat 4-4-2, I would rather not have Gogic, because I'd rather have Newell and McGuinness, 2 players that can play football, because at the end of the day, how many times are Hamilton going to, how much is Gogic going to have to do against Hamilton? Really, I didn't ken any of their players. Who did they have? The right back scores a goal every other game, apparently.
Apparently, Nathan Thomas was impactful off the bench, so he's potentially one to watch. That's just from BBC when I was doing my research.
What's his name? Who?
Nathan Thomas.
Never heard him.
Craig, if Gogic is fit, does he return for you?
No, I'd go with the same team that started on Saturday, bar Gullan in for Wright, providing that Murphy's fit. I would bring Gullan in for Wright, and I'd almost say to the front 3, away you go. If Gullan wants to turn up on the right and Boyle wants to go on the left and Murphy through the middle, on you go. If Murphy wants to go out to the right with Boyle on the left and Gullan through the middle, just do it. Just all he is. Or you could even say that Nisbet potentially dropping back in. You could have those 4 just rotating and roaming within each other. So that's the only change I'd make. I'm quite happy to see Newell and Hallberg continue in the middle of the park, and possibly Mackie for Stevenson. But that would be it for me. I
kind of said I would want Gogic in, but no, I completely agree with you there, Craig.
You changed your mind.
Your take is a little better than mine.
That's good. Like Stephen would die on his hill. That's good that you recognise. You know what? I made a mistake there, and I'm going to.
I'm not wrong.
Up to that.
I'm not wrong.
I'm just not right.
I still think Hamilton are having a great season, so show you one.
Oh, Stuart, go leave the Zoom call. Honestly, you're embarrassing us all.
I've always said I made a better host, so that's fine.
Obviously, we've never seen that much. We haven't seen that much of McGuinness. We're still trying to figure out what kind of player it is. Stuart, if say Gullan is playing out in the left-hand side if Murphy's injured, I know Craig sort of mentioned about Newell and Hallberg continuing in the middle, Boyle on the right, either Gullan or Murphy on the left. Could we say if McGuinness is fit, could he come in and play where Does Wright played behind the striker?
I'd quite like to see that, yeah. I think that was very much his position at St Mirren. Play to the laddie's strengths, get him back in. We know he can kind of drive that midfield from what we saw previous seasons with him. So, absolutely.
So just as a quick one, we'll go around everybody. So I know he's already said, but just I can't remind who said it. So we're going to go with everybody. If Lewy done quite well, if Mackie's fit, who plays at left back, Lewy or Mackie? One word answer, Stuart.
Mackie.
Josh Doig.
I knew you were going to say that. I was going to say that before you did.
Nah. If it's between Mackie and Stevenson, it's got to be Mackie.
Fair enough. And as we're going around again, what's your score predictions for the game?
Oh, I'm going to go 2-0 to the Hibs.
5-0.
7-1.
Love the confidence. And speaking of score predictions, we're going to chat about the rest of the season, the rest of the calendar year. That's twice I've done that. And the games we've got left, and say how many points we'll get between now and the end of December. So, like I say, I'll quickly run through the games and then we'll kind of chat about them a bit more. We've obviously got Hamilton away, Alloa in the Cup, which obviously won't go towards points because it's a Cup game. That's stating the obvious. Dundee United at home, St Mirren at home, so good two back-to-back home games there. Rangers at Ibrox, and then Ross County at home. So we'll go into the sort of specifics in a moment, but Stuart, is a real opportunity to get some really good results, some really good performances, and build a lot of confidence ahead of what's probably going to be a really tough game at Ibrox on Rangers' recent form.
Yeah, absolutely. If we look where Jack Ross's Hibs team have picked up points, it has been against the teams out with the Old Firm in Aberdeen. So there's no reason why we shouldn't continue that. Get a good head of steam up, bit of confidence, not too much Christmas pudding, boys, and we can take these guys in on Boxing Day.
Like I say, other than the Rangers game last night, we can all agree is going to be the toughest game, Craig. What would you say is the next toughest game out of that? Hamilton away, Dundee United at home, St Mirren at home, and Ross County at home.
None of them. Yeah, I don't see any of them being tough. Dundee United might only just be a few points behind us in the league, but they've scored like 6 goals in 12 games. They've done nothing. Hamilton are shite. Kilmarnock are shite. Ross County, granted, got a great result against Celtic, and then got leathered off of Rangers. We should be looking at minimum 15 points for these 5 games.
15 points, including Ibrox as well.
No, I think obviously
I was like, wait, have we got 6 games?
That's going to be the toughest one. I mean, you can't really disagree that this, as much as it pains to say it, this Rangers team are frightening just now.
Unbeaten in 25 competitive
they've
fixtures.
Scored 46 goals in the league. They've only conceded 3. 2 of them were against us. The other one was an own goal. I've been sort of saying to folk online about this, and folk are like, "Oh, Lennon's lost Celtic the 10," but he's lost it as much as Gerrard and Rangers are taking it away from them, because they've been, they've just going forward. I mean, Tavernier, like, I know he's a joke figure amongst us for what Stoke's done to him in the cup final, but he's got what?
Some player.
He's got 16 goals this season for right back, and less than half of them have been penalties.
When's he eligible for Scotland?
I seen Pine Bovril put like a graph out earlier showing how many penalties teams have won and lost, and how many crosses have been put in the box by certain players. Tavernier and Barisic between them have put in almost 400 crosses this season, just in the league. They've won, I think Rangers have won about 7 or 8 penalties, and they've conceded none. And you see folk going on about, this is just typical, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but if a team has scored 46 goals or 44 goals or whatever it is in 14, 15 games, that's an average in almost 3 a game. They've only conceded 3. So that shows you, 1, how often they're getting into other team boxes, and 2, how little teams are actually getting into their box. So it's no surprise that teams are getting as many penalties given against them and barely getting anything from them. They're just looking unbeatable, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them go on and emulate the Rodgers team, because comparing the records at this stage, like after the same amount of games under Rodgers' first season, Gerrard's Rangers are actually performing better.
Liam, he spoke about some of the stats there from that sort of Rangers team. It kind of, bringing it back to Hibs, it makes that point at Easter Road look a lot more impressive, doesn't it? How Rangers have done elsewhere in the season.
Aye, of course it is, especially with the 2 goals. Like Craig said, they've been absolutely flying this season in Europe as well. So, I mean, I think for anyone to take anything off them, us and Livingston, I think, are the only teams that have taken anything off them. So, I mean, you would say go to Ibrox and you would take a point every day of the week. But listen, stranger things have happened. I've seen us beat Rangers teams with.
I've seen us beat better Rangers teams in the past. And I know we're a Hibs podcast, and I absolutely hate blowing smoke up their arses. So I do apologise in advance for anybody who thinks that I'm some sort of current Bun sympathiser, because I'm really, really not. But you do have to give them credit where it's due, I feel.
Absolutely not.
So, aye. No,
completely
I
disagree with you, Craig. No.
I understand why you've been giving them credit. They have been frightening, and it's a daunting game. I hope we'll know. I'm worried about having, like say, good Christmas and then the next day having it ruined. But hopefully we can show that performance like we did at Easter Road and get a positive result. So looking at those games, Stuart, is a real opportunity to be maybe even a wee bit further away from Aberdeen in third place with those games, and also in a semi-final with the Alloa game there as well.
You know what? Aberdeen recently, and again, we're our Hibs podcast, we're not wanting to talk about another team, but Aberdeen's results of recent have not been great. Losing to Celtic in the semi-final of the Cup, losing quite badly to Rangers, quite a few draws recently, one with Hamilton, one with St Mirren at the weekend, got put out of the Cup. They're not in great form at all. So I don't see why we can't build a little bit of momentum and kind of get a bit of distance between ourselves before facing Rangers, but then picking up the points with Ross County at the back of it as well.
I think if we really want to be ambitious, and Ron Gordon's spoken about being ambitious, we shouldn't be looking at Aberdeen. We should be looking at Celtic. Given how much in disarray that they are, we should be looking at them and going after them.
Is that something we can look at now, or something we should be building towards? In terms of where the squad is.
I think
we're only 2 points behind them. Yeah, we're only 2 points behind them. They've won what? 2 games in their last 12. I know that's not going to last forever, but start putting them under a wee bit of pressure.
They've got a couple
Celtic
of games
aren't going to be in disarray for a long time.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
They've got a couple of games in hand, but listen, they're an absolute meltdown. It pleases me so much. I fucking hate them, right? And I would love nothing more than for them to keep losing and for us to keep winning. And then, see Neil Lennon's wee face. I hate that guy, man. I hate him.
I think what we are forgetting, though, is that the Celtic board will act, and they will act sooner rather than later. They will chuck a stupid amount of money at whoever comes in to try and stop Rangers winning it, or to try and get 10, whichever way you want to phrase it. But there's no reason why we can't go about our business quietly and just kind of get it done on the actual pitch.
The thing is, the more the Celtic fans go to Celtic Park and put banners up on the fences and stuff like that, the more... And I know this would be stupid from a business perspective, but the more probably Dermot Desmond and Peter Law will just dig their feet in and go, "Fuck you!" Like we're not being dictated. We're not being
Dermot Desmond,
they're like
Peter
bad
Law,
children. You can't
doing the right thing.
Like, this is, I've had this argument with people, and I got a tweet that got about 500 or so likes the other day. No big deal.
You're right, it's no.
And it was like a Celtic fan had put up something like. Would never last a minute supporting us, blah, blah, blah. Google's team name in protest, and it had a picture of Hearts fans with Levine, us after relegation against Hamilton, Rangers fans when administration was announced, and Kilmarnock fans about Michael Johnston. He has literally picked 4 examples here where clubs couldn't be any lower. Like clubs at their lowest end.
Yeah. Relegation,
like
administration.
Asset stripping.
Yeah.
Hearts and freefall, blah, blah, blah. So he's picked on those, and I was like, there's no way near it's comparable. They've won fucking everything for the last 4 years. Like this, when whoever wins the Betfred Cup, if that happens after this, I'm assuming that'll be after the Scottish Cup final. Granted that they win that, this will be the first time that somebody's won a trophy since we won the Cup in 2016. That's not been Celtic. Now, how often have we spoke about recently being like, we can't rest on the Scottish Cup, Kim, we need to move on for that. That shows you how long ago it's been, and these fuckers are crying because they're losing their mythical 10 in a row.
This is what fucking pisses me off. It's you didn't get a special gold trophy if you win 10 leagues in a row, right? And they go on, and the fucking media are just as bad. They egg them on. They're like, "Oh, Celtic gonna win the 10." Fucking Chris Sutton, the Celtic gonna win the 10 in a row this year. Fucking, oh my god, man, it winds me so much up.
I would argue that the treble is more impressive than 10 in a row.
I didn't care about either of them, to be honest.
Or an unbeaten season.
I don't care about either of them. And you can, because obviously Celtic have done it before, done the 9, then Rangers done the 9, you can see the lure of being that team to do it first. But all the other stuff they've done in the past, and they just want to greet like they're fucking, they sack the board and all that. Like, fucking what? Like, your wage bill dwarfs anything in Scotland. They spent 10 million. They spent what? 5 million on a Getty, 5 million on that fucking honking keeper, 3 million.
I think it was 7 or
3
8
million on
Edward.
Turnbull.
9 on Edward.
Like, do you know what I mean? Our record transfer, 700 grand on De La Cruz fucking 20 years ago. Like, it's like they celebrate all these titles and that. It's like fucking beating a one-legged man in an arse-kicking contest. That's exactly what it's like. And we have
to sum Celtic fans up, this was something that I experienced in the 2013 final. Knew a lassie from university. She was a big Celtic fan, season ticket holder. Obviously, she was in one end, I was in the other end. Bit of messaging back and forward. I messaged her full time. All right, well done. Congratulations, good win. 3-0. She went, no, it was only 2. I was like, no, it was 3. She actually left with her family early to beat the traffic instead of staying to see her team lift the cup. And she wasn't the only one that day, and she lives in Glasgow.
So, I mean, you couldn't lift us off the park, lift us off the seats at Hampden that day. They were almost fucking ushering us out at like 6:30 at night. Whereas they literally lifted the trophy, yay, and then away they go. Fuck them. Fuck Rangers as well. Fuck the two of them.
Fuck everyone, by the way, apart from Hibs.
Especially Hearts. Fuck them and all.
I think the point that you made earlier on, Craig, was hit the nail on the head about they're not going to, the board aren't going to act when there's protests like that. It's like parenting. If your kid acts like a spoiled brat, you're not going to reward them, giving them what they want. You're going to punish them. You know, you're not going to reward bad behaviour. It's ridiculous. Like it's not just the fact like protests. One, there's a global pandemic going on. What are you doing gathering like that? And two, they were throwing fences. They were chasing at the bus yesterday as well. It's ridiculous.
That's
embarrassing. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Well.
Like, they're so fucking self-entitled, man. They're still second in the league. They're in another cup final.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And they're fucking, because they're being let down. And do you know what? Right, as much as I hate Rangers, like I was trying to weigh this up in my head. Is them winning this 55 worth the meltdown? A Celtic not getting a 10, and I'm sorry to say, but so far, it 100% has been. 100%.
Okay, absolutely.
Very entertaining to watch from the outside.
I can't wait for it, personally.
I was originally in the
I can't wait for the arguments of trying to say to a Rangers fan, how do you win 55 titles in 8 years?
See, that'll be the next, but this, and now the only sad thing is it now seems like it almost seems like a fitting end to the banter years for Tavernier to be lifting the trophy.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It almost seems like that's the band. Celtic are like that with the baton. Tavernier's like that, and Scott Brown's like, thank you.
Yeah. But I like to say, obviously, we kind of went off and sort of talked about the rest of Scottish football, which is, I think, has been a good chat, and it's good being talking about how much we hate Celtic and Rangers because they're pricks. But yeah, looking forward to the game on Saturday. Guys, you got much planned for the rest of tonight?
My dinner, I'm bloody starving.
What are you having tonight?
It is Slimming World's chili. So looking forward to that.
Slimming, you definitely need that, mate. You're looking a little bit fucking built like the side of a fiver.
Craig, your plans for the night?
I don't know, mate. I'm deliberating whether to finish off my FM save or not. Nisbet and Dodge up front. Chef's kiss. Goals.
Brilliant. Liam?
I think I'm going to sit and look at the wall.
Exciting.
Yep, that's me.
Fair enough. So yeah,
what about yourself, Gav? You off to work?
Yeah, so I start at 10 p.m. tonight, the night shift. So after this, I'm going to have my porridge, I'm going to have my breakfast, and get my dinner sorted and stuff like that, and get that in Tupperware for later on tonight. But yeah, I don't think there's much to do tonight at work, so I'll probably get a bit of Football Manager in whilst I'm there as well.
Round of applause for Gav for getting up early before his work to do the pod. Love that from you, Gav.
I'll take a bit
early in his morning.
So like I say, we'll finish up there. Let us know your views on all these sort of topics we've talked about today, the Motherwell game, the Hamilton game, Celtic and Rangers, if you want, at HFC Talk on Twitter and Facebook, and on the .net and Hybeast Bounce reply to the feed for the podcast as well. Like I say, we'll finish up there. Thanks again, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Gav.
Enjoy the rest of your week, folks, and enjoy the game on Saturday. Cheers,
boys.
Sebastian.